folks, and welcome to the Pipnotic Symposium for the 5th of January 2021. I'm sitting in front of my fireplace. Actually, you can probably hear a bit of a hum in the background, and that's the ventilator blowing hot air onto me because it's absolutely freezing in our Mallorcan house. The walls here are about a meter thick, and there's no heating. We have a fireplace, but there are no radiators, and so it's a real struggle, especially when the temperature drops to around 1 or 2 degrees at night. I mean, everything is cooled down to a degree that makes it almost impossible to warm up again. And so this is why I'm sitting in front of my fireplace. But I hope it's not too noisy. I also have my youngest at home. He's occupied in the other room for the time being, but I hope there aren't too many interruptions. Today I was asked to cover a couple of topics for today's symposium. First of all, plans for 21, and the second request was to have a look at the buy and sell zone algo trader. So plans for 21 are that I'm rewriting the algo for supply and demand software, and this will obviously spill over into all related software packages. But the major update that I'm working on is a pretty interesting one, and what I want the software to do is I want the software to follow the rules as much as possible. And while some of these rules are somewhat complex to implement in code, I'm managing to find solutions for that, and actually managing to incorporate these the rules into the code. And one of the most important rules has now been incorporated into the code, and that is essentially supply and demand that is strong enough to cause damage to the structure of the market. And when I say the structure of the market, I mean opposing supply and demand. So supply and demand that is strong enough to consume opposing supply and demand. And so with the update that's coming out, hopefully soon, this will have been implemented. Okay, and what I'm going to do with the code base is that I'm going to transfer that to the buy and the sell zone robot as well. And so you can see here, I mean, we have some really interesting areas here where we have this beautiful area, untested area of demand, and this is an area of demand because when price left here, we managed to move through an area of opposing supplies. Here we had supply that was tested. This area of demand consumed the liquidity, the bearish liquidity available in this little price point just here. Okay, we have another one here. This managed to move through this high here, and this one moved above this high, and this one moved above this high here. And so these rules are really important, and we have the rules because we want a way to objectively attempt to identify superior areas of supply and demand. And now the software is doing this. My main issue now is trying to optimize the software so that it's not too labor intensive on the computer. So that's what I'm currently working on. So it's working, but now I'm going in and I'm deleting as much code as I can in order to reduce the clock cycles required to run the algo. And when I'm done with that, then I'm going to convert it to the trading robot, which is running just here. And this will essentially implement the same or trade at the same levels as a supply and demand. So what I've been doing as well is I only want to see the very best areas of supply and demand. And so I have actually set the default parameters to some pretty strict settings, and the strict settings are implemented here. Okay, and so if you look at this area here, we had enormous departure. I mean, huge departure. I mean, this is shirt tearing strength when price leaves like that. We have the beginning of the buy zone is here, and we know this because this is where price typically turned around. So people were happy paying this price for this asset when it came back to here. We have the same thing down here and down here, where we had this area of demand has been tested. Okay, so the buy zone is actually at least halfway through this area of demand, which brings our attention to this area of demand, the low here being the buy zone. So we have two potential areas here. We have this one here, which I like, which is already marked off, and then we have this one here, which I also like for the same reason. This is just a very nice departure strength from here. And so what I'm doing now is I'm taking the logic behind this and I'm implementing it into the buy and sell zone robot. And this is something that I will eventually roll out in this year, probably in the next couple of months. I mean, we already have an existing version, and this is actually the existing version, and it's finding levels very similar to the new version of the software, but I want to scrutinize these levels just a little bit more in an attempt to increase the quality of the areas of supply and demand that will be traded. And so this version here is available, and if you want it, you can write to me in the Discord channel, and I'll let you know how you can get a hold of it. But there are only about 3 people using it now, including myself. We have an institutional guy who's using it. We have Cameron in the room who is using it, and we have John who's also using it, and then myself. So that makes 4, all of us. The robot works really well, and buy and sell zones is actually a spin-off from the pools algorithm that I had a little while back. And pools has been discontinued, so I put that in my retired projects repository on my SVN, and the buy and sell zones is the new generation of that algo, which has its core in the supply and demand software. And so that's where we are. Another thing that I forgot to mention, plans for 21. A friend of mine and myself, we are building a piece of software that can help people like myself and probably many of you know when to convert one currency for the other. I mean, everyone knows or has likely heard of TransferWise, but the problem with TransferWise is that you have money in varying currencies in your account, but maybe you don't know when to convert, for example, euros for American dollars or Swiss francs for Japanese yen. And so what I'm doing is I am building on the currency strength histogram, and I'm using that to send signals to a website that will be hosted on the domains that I bought, transferwise.ninja and transferwise.guide, and these will be presented in a very beautiful table, and it'll tell people when it would be a good idea to convert one currency for the other. And we're also doing this for crypto as well, and so I mean, we'll eventually dig into the crypto market as well with the same software and do the same thing. And so it won't only be fiat currencies, it'll also be crypto. And so you'll know when to change your Bitcoins for Ethereum or your Bitcoins for XRP or anything like that. So this is something that we're currently working on. The algo is pretty much done. Currently, my partner is creating the Mongo database and the front end. He's much better at doing that than myself. And then my software will send JSON requests to his API, which will in turn convert it and present it beautifully on a website. And this will probably be something that's available as a subscription service. If you're using the currency strength histogram, then you don't need that. It's just for people who are not traders who wish to gain access to the insight that a lot of the software that we have access to provides for us. So that's a pretty exciting project and something that I plan to work on very aggressively once we get a little bit further. Yeah, so I mean, just to show you how this works, I mean, essentially what we're doing is that if we go down here, you can see that the robot is identifying areas of supply and demand, and if you like this one, which I actually do, well, then I'll just click on the auto trade and it will open the trade for me, and it will use my risk parameters to calculate the position size. So this is essentially what it's done just here. Okay, and then I'll turn it off and I'll go to another pair. Let's say this one here and see what's going on, and then it'll analyze all the data, run it through the algorithm, and then it'll draw levels if it finds some, and sometimes it's not going to find any. And then it'll go through and analyze it, and if it doesn't find anything, then it won't show anything at all. We can go to different time frames. We can see if it identifies anything, and I've reduced the algorithm execution to every 10 seconds so it's not killing the computer. Okay, so we have this one and this one, and this one is liking this down here, which is almost had a test. See, it didn't qualify this one here because this one, when it left here, it didn't consume an opposing area of supply. and so the new algo would not have qualified it, but the old one would have said, actually, we had a very strong departure. We have the buy zone here, so buy down here. So if you look at this on a bigger time frame, maybe you would or you wouldn't want to do that. Yeah, I probably wouldn't get involved in that because we're longer term, we're kind of moving low, but that's essentially what it's doing, and it works unbelievably well on pound crosses. I mean, unbelievably well. The accuracy on pound crosses is extreme. So this is obviously something that I would like to work on. Yeah, I mean, it found it even though it was not. We're using two different algorithms, and so I'd say let's have a quick look on the daily. Where are we? That looks quite nice, and so yeah, we could say, okay, well, let's give that a shot. So we'll flick it on and say auto trade, and then the trade will be opened based on our risk parameters. There we are. So we leave that alone, and then we see what happens. And we go Ethereum, American dollar. What's going on there? Let's go to the bigger time frame, the 4-hour chart. And this is not real crypto. This is crypto traders as a contract for difference. And so you're getting these gaps because the market's closed, which is annoying. You're not going to see that on the real crypto market because the markets are open 24/7. If we have a look here at this, which is where we have a very low XRP. Because of the SEC case, it caused price to dump. So this could be an attractive price to buy. Yesterday's symposium, I touched a little bit on XRP. So if you haven't seen that, maybe have a look at that. It might be interesting. If we look at Bitcoin here, and then we can just go through the motions and we can see if it finds anything. Let's go on the hourly chart, see if it's able to find something for us. Let it run. Yeah, and so it said that we should sell Bitcoin up there, which worked out beautifully. It has not quite been touched, but price went up to it, and then we left. And so this is the beginning of the sell zone. So if you wanted to sell Bitcoin and buy American dollars, then you would maybe consider doing so at the edge of this box, which has not yet been tested. We look here, we're still finding the same area here, which is quite nice. Okay, well, I'm not going to walk around in this too much more. I just wanted to answer the questions brought to you in the room. If you have any requests for future symposiums, or you want me to have a look at a specific pair or discuss anything else, please let me know. I'd be absolutely thrilled to receive your feedback. And if you are a member and you're happy with Pipnotic, I would really appreciate a customer review from you. If you haven't given one, that would be great. If you have, thank you so much already for that. This is the way I like to get feedback on my service, as it enables me to see if I'm on track or not. So thank you for everyone for doing those so far, and for those of you who haven't, I would be thrilled if you would do so. And I'll leave it at that. Thanks again for watching.